And boom, just like that, it's Thursday night, and you all know what that means. It's party time with the Video Bros. I'm one half of that team. I'm Bobby Munson, and the man beside me, the man with the angelic voice, Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, happy Thursday, brother. How are you?
Happy Thursday to you, brother. I'm doing okay. I got a bit of a cold. Voice is a little sketchier than usual, so please bear with me.
We'll bear with you, Papa Smokes. There's always room at this table for you. There's always room at the table as well for the third video, bro. The big bass man himself, Basser, up in the house. How you doing, brother? Happy to hear from you. Hopefully it's still good to go for going to grab bite to eat at lunchtime tomorrow, my man. Let's prepare ourselves for some PPW. We're going to be talking about that in a short little bit because announcements for Prairie Pro Wrestling came about here, Papa Smoke. So we got the inside scoop because we're on the inside when it comes to the Prairie Pro. And we'll let some people get here first before we start talking about that. Talking about MLW coming up on Saturday night as well, too. But man, Papa Smokes, we've had quite the week in terms of professional wrestling as of late. The Royal Rumble just happened over the weekend here. Seems like a lot of people really liked what they saw. I had a good time. I mean, it's a Royal Rumble. Can't complain. We've got, all sorts of things happening with people's contracts up and who's going to sign where and who's going to show up at which company. And we got forbidden doors opening up all over the place. It's a wild world out there in professional wrestling as of late.
Yeah, you said it, Munson. You're leaving out one of the main stories, or the two main stories of the past week involving the big company. One, they got a new channel for one of their shows, and one, little darker news yet. I'm telling you guys, anyone that's surprised about the news about Mr. McMahon is crazy, because all that stuff's been really just known and batted around the wrestling world since the damn 80s, as far as I know.
Yeah, he's always been a psycho POS that we have no real interest in going over his dirty deeds. But the Netflix deal, that is something. I mean, that is an interesting take. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, here in Canada, it's not just Monday Night Raw that will be part of the package, is that the network transitions over to a Netflix option as of 2025, meaning that you would get the PLEs and the NXTs and stuff like that. Speaking of NXT on Tuesday nights, you want to join our fantastic friend right there. It's the natural Astrid Pizarro. How are you doing, Astrid? Thank you for joining us here on Ring Respect Radio. I'm sure you're also checking out some TNA wrestling tonight, because talking about wrestling that's on top of the world right now, Papa Smokes. TNA's been kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah.
Bobby mentioned it. Mustafa Ali is set his sights on Chris Sabian's TNA X Division Championship. Oh, man. That's a matchup. That is a good matchup lineup right there. I like that.
And Mustafa Ali's one of those guys, you can see his obvious talent, but he was kind of getting lost in the shuffle in WWE because they have a number of guys quite a lot like that. So for him to go to one of the other major companies, probably a great idea, and probably liberating for him too, that he can have some high quality matches with some different opponents. Good stuff. TNA's really taken a good step forward in the last months.
So here's an interesting tidbit from the world of professional wrestling today, keeping on the more positive side of things, Pop Smokes. Camille, former NWA Women's Champion, a dominant NWA Women's Champion, and a kick-ass powerhouse that we've enjoyed the works of and seeing her rise, has said that time is up. Something is going to get announced very soon about the new location for Camille. So the internet wrestling community is all abuzz. Where is Camille's next home that she is going to call professional wrestling? I'm curious to find out myself too, Papa Smokes. You can theorize all you want and all these kind of things, but I don't think that she'd be keeping it this secretive if it wasn't at least a sizable name or something that people will enjoy. I can't see it being any less than like TNA, New Japan, AEW, WWE. I would say those are the four that I would say strongly have an opportunity to have Camille make that kind of announcement.
For sure. I agree with your choices of company. And you remember when we used to review NWA YouTube show, when it first started, Into the Fire and all that. You remember that, Bob?
Yeah.
She was just starting out as a wrestler. She was obviously already a physical, dominant looking force, very, very tall, very, very big muscles and all that stuff. I don't think she could work yet, but that was a few years ago. That was 4 or 5 years ago that we were watching her start.
Yep.
And now she's got a lot more matches under her belt. And from what I can see, she's been working very, very hard, not only on her bodybuilding and stuff, but on her ring work and her promo work. So she's got to be a good prospect for a lot of those big companies, especially as you look to some of the big women that are getting signed nowadays. By big, I mean physically big, such as the Jade Cargills and the Nia Jaxes and such like that are taking prominent positions in big companies. So you need more big girls that can hang with the Bianca Belairs and the Rhea Ripleys of the world. Camille, perfect. They can put her in the training center for a while and get her all shined up and polished up and ready for a roster run.
You bet they can. And again, and speaking of that kind of physique, somebody in the form of Jordan Grace, who showed up as the TNA Knockouts champion at the Women's Royal Rumble, it made quite the splash over there, and says that, you know, she's not even done working this co-relationship with the WWE, that she might be back in terms of spending some time over there as well too. Jordan Grace is quite incredible, got a great physique, quite the powerhouse herself too, and really looked like she belonged in a WWE ring while she was in that Royal Rumble matchup. I would not have my doubts if that is somebody that they do have their sights set on once that, you know, TNA time comes to an end. And, you know, if they can slowly introduce her now with this working relationship, even better for them for when they put her on TV.
For sure. And she's young too. I mean, I'm thinking back to when I saw her live here in town for one of the Danny Duggan shows here, and she looked like she was still a teenager. She was just starting out. This was 2016, 17 or something like that. So she's probably only 26, 27, 28 kind of thing. Like that's good for all the experience she's had. She's worked on TV. She's gone on tours. She's worked all kinds of different opponents and stuff in different companies. Yeah, how much seasoning do you need? Look at the body on the girl. Even her muscles have muscles. The WWE's got to be looking at that with dollar signs in their eyes.
Oh, of course. Again, you know, and that's the way it's always been. There's a certain look that most professional wrestling companies used to have when it comes to physical size and stuff like that. And, you know, we're not talking looks in terms of like looks. We're talking like there's a physique that used to be a look. I mean, the ugliest of ugliest dudes have been big star wrestlers, but they've got that certain physique that they work hard on. And the people who work hard to get to there are the ones that end up getting put in those prominent positions. And again, you've seen that with Jordan Grace, and you are on the money, Pop Smoke. She is 27, so she's got a lot of career ahead of her still. So a great time for them to slowly introduce somebody like Jordan Grace. And even some of the times when she was teeing off with Bianca Belair for the powerhouse moves and stuff like that, it looked good in that Royal Rumble. So, I mean, this is a great big step for the WWE in terms of, you know, opening up to working with a few other companies that they don't see as a potential, you know, again, they're not going to view TNA as a threat at this point in time.
No.
So to have, you know, a working relationship where they can do a talent share when necessary, kind of like this is great look on their new management system there.
For sure. And you talk about a talent share, talent trade. That's one of the big things in wrestling now is the surprise, the reveal, you know, and if you can actually keep it secret, the fans go crazy when something like that happens. Last year, Mickie James came out with the TNA belt in the middle of the Royal Rumble. This year, it's Jordan Grace. Same thing. Imagine if it happened the other way on TNA. I don't know if it would happen the other way if Becky Lynch is going to go do a match over there or anything. But the principle is the same. The fans love the shock. And the the grand entrance of somebody who's just a complete surprise to be there.
Yeah, and maybe not so much a Becky Lynch going over to somewhere like TNA, but you'd imagine that some of the ones that are working within the NXT rankings right now that could use a little bit more polishing and some work with somebody over there as well. So they could send some of their better, on the verge of getting that call up to a main roster call, women over to TNA, or even the guys over to TNA to have some spots with some good professional wrestlers over there and get some extra TV time in front of a little bit bigger crowd. Because I know, again, where they're doing NXT right now, those crowds they're reasonable, but they're not big. TNA definitely, especially on their pay-per-views, is drawing a better crowd with Hard to Kill. They killed it with that one. They did really well. So again, they're a name back in the game, and it opens an interesting door that I like to see. Before we go to Bobby's comment here, I just want to say hello to JJ, the voice, Josh Joseph. They need to send Roman there for extra TV time. I think Roman's TV time is going to be very limited moving forward. They want to assure that their ride or die on that championship does not get injured. And again, they're giving him the treatment that old school wrestling used to get. I mean, he's an attraction champion at this point in time. They're trying to get him to beat as many records as he can while he's healthy, while he's uninjured, while he's still a top name in the industry, while he's got those connections to other big names like his new boss, The Rock. You got to admit, as much as it frustrates WWE fans or professional wrestling fans in general, Roman's kind of got himself to that Brock Lesnar. I hate to say Brock Lesnar's name again. That's a name we don't talk about nowadays, apparently. Or at least at the moment. But yes, Roman has got himself to that status of attraction wrestler. He's been there long enough. He's done it all. He's beaten them all. And now he's become an attraction wrestler. But again, I digress that if he does not go up against Cody at WrestleMania after Cody's win at the Rumble, and he does not lose this time to Cody at WrestleMania for that belt, what the fuck are they thinking? Because again, what a waste of 2 Royal Rumbles if this does not finish Cody's story this time around.
Okay, well, I don't know, man. It's the fans can book it all they want, but I know that the companies listen to the fans to a certain extent on social media and such, but that's partly to frustrate them. You know that I never argued with it last year that you just come back from injury, just won the Royal Rumble. Everybody thinks that's an automatic paved road to the championship because almost everyone that wins the Royal Rumble wins the championship at WrestleMania. It's pretty much a formula by now. But I don't see the harm in making him wait. There's no reason to rush on this because once you do it, you can't go back either. You can never get that tension back. I'm not saying I know the ins and outs of the situation at this time because I don't watch WWE product anymore, but I don't know. I'm not going to second guess their booking. They've gotten this far on it.
Yeah, it's just when it comes down to it, they kept stressing that nobody has won back-to-back Royal Rumbles in 26 years since Steve Austin did it last time. They keep stressing about Cody finishing the story, winning the belt that Dusty didn't win, and all these things. And I could imagine, you've run this story now an extra year of Cody having to go the gauntlet of everything else thrown at him. He remained a big star. He kept that momentum enough that nobody was resenting Cody winning for a second year in a row. Nobody said to hell with this and turned on the idea completely. So it might be, if you're going to pull the trigger on Cody, it might be the time to pull the trigger on Cody. WrestleMania 40, it's a bigger deal. I think that there's a possibility that this time around they pull that trigger and let Cody get that moment at WrestleMania. But
you're probably right. And it is a nice story to build and a nice culmination, just the classic story of the baby face pushed down, beaten down, denied, frustrated, held back, all the rest of it, but he's too strong in his character and his spirit. and he's such a good guy. He's going to come through and do it. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably completely right.
Yeah. And as we're on this topic, we'll go. Allison K should be signed to a company too. Yes, you bet, Bobby. We couldn't agree with you more on that, sir. Love Allison K. Ed, how's it going, Ed? Ed co-host taking over. Co-host of Marvel Talk, kicking ass and taking names all over the place. How are you doing, Ed? Thank you for joining in. And again, congrats, Ed and Andre, man. That last Marvel Rebound show's got some kick-ass numbers running up this channel right now. Just fantastic, man. I know we even like on our Hard to Kill post show, we got a raid and from Get the Tables. And we had some of their people in there asking about OLE being the place where they can find Marvel Talk. They all love Marvel Talk. So again, great job by Ed and Andre there. And saying they will turn on Cody if he loses again in a second WrestleMania in a row, losing to Roman Reigns. Yes, I believe they would. I think at that point, the fans, especially modern day fans, would start to resent Cody Rhodes and turn on him in terms of like a baby face, you know, the guy that overcomes the odds and gets the big victory. So I think they do need to finish that story. Whether or not Cody's title run will be memorable, we'll see. We'll find out very soon. WrestleMania right around the corner. As we say hello to Melball Collins joining us up in the house. And again, we were speaking to Andre C. Well, Andre's partner in crime, Melball here. They've got this show that's been running every Friday on our local establishment. It is the Japanese Wrestling Update. And tomorrow night, I forgot in my notes what time, but Mel's going to let us know what time. They're going live tomorrow night here for the Japanese Wrestling Updates. You're going to be able to go and check us out on YouTube, check us out on Twitch, and be able to talk live with Melball and Andre C. as they're giving you the Japanese Wrestling Update. That's at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. I believe that's 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. So set your clocks for that one and join Mel and Andre for the Japanese Wrestling Update.
I watched some of the last episode. Very good and very interesting. I'm like in over my head because I'm not sure what's going on in Japanese wrestling right now, but it's one hell of a way to catch up.
It sure is. And they got some cool, awesome stuff going on there. So I love getting those updates when we can't, get around to watching every show that there is. JJ saying they are not finishing it this round. They're gonna give him the belt when he turns heel. Maybe. I don't know. I really think that they need that baby face at the top of the company. And Cody's that guy. I mean, Cody's that smooth talking guy who he doesn't show signs of really like resentment towards anybody or anything. And I can say this from personal experience because Cody wrestled here in Saskatoon for High Impact Wrestling. And you and I were part of that, Papa Smokes. And I'm sitting backstage there, and Cody comes in. He's wearing his suit. He's got his bags. And the one thing they teach us in professional wrestling is when the talent comes through that door and you're somebody who's new in there, you get your ass up and you go get their bags for them and all this kind of stuff. It's a respect thing. So I got up, went and shook his hand, introduced myself, said, let me grab your bags here for you. No, brother, it's all good. He goes, I got this. He goes, it's cool. He goes, and first thing he says to me, he goes, there was a couple of young boys in Saskatoon here that wanted to do a podcast or a video with me. He goes, do you know where they might be? I said, yes, sir. I said, they're waiting up front there with their dad. I said, they got their camera set up and everything like that. If you want to head straight through and get that done. He goes, fantastic. Yeah, let's go take care of that first and foremost. He said, let's make those boys today. Like, I mean, he's a class act, no matter how you look at it. Like, it's just, he is the right guy to be a top baby face within the WWE.
Munson, that should have been our interview. I'm still mad about that. That little brat only put out that one episode. That's all he ever did. That should have been our interview, Munson.
It should have been, but we were still a little green at the time, Papa Smokes, and I didn't know how to make that approach. So
was he. He was 8 years old.
He was 8 years old, but I mean, he shot his shot before I did.
I know.
I learned my lesson. Bobby saying, how about Camille going to Stardom? I mean, certainly. I mean, at least
sure.
we'll get to hear all about it on the Japanese Wrestling Update every Friday on the channel. If not, go ahead and watch.
She might be looking at something bigger than that.
You bet. Mark my words, nice guys finish last. They need a screw job, and we will be talking in the next few years, the Cody screw job. All right, JJ, let's we'll put that bet on the table. You're going that they're not giving it to him at WrestleMania. I'm saying they're going for it. We're saying it right here, right now, on this date, February the 1st, 2024, at exactly 8:27 Saskatchewan time, 9:27 on the Eastern clocks. My friend, I'm going Cody. You're going against Cody. Let's see what happens, man. It's a friendly bet. There's nothing on the line. Just good old friendly bragging rights. That's all it is.
When's WrestleMania? March sometime?
March or April. I can't remember. WrestleMania 40. Let's look her up real quick. This is what we can do. WrestleMania XL is going to be held on Saturday, April 6th and Sunday, April the 7th. Because, it's just not WrestleMania without 2 days of WrestleMania now, Papa Smokes.
Right. I forgot to tell you, Munson, that I watched the Royal Rumble. I just watched the men's Rumble match, and it was pretty okay. I didn't know a whole bunch of those guys in that, but that's on me because I don't watch. But there was a conspicuous lack of star power in that. There was Cody, there was Punk. That's about it. And I was just disappointed that I kept thinking, is there going to be a bushwhacker or a $1 million man or somebody from the past coming, or an X-Pac or something? No, nothing.
No, you got our truth for that these days, man. He's been around long enough.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, coming in for wanting a hot tag. That was pretty funny.
You bet, yeah. JJ saying you should have watched the Women's Rumble. I mean, I had fun with both. I was fine with the outcomes of both Rumbles. Was there some spots that dipped a little bit? Sure. There always is. I mean, you're talking about 30 wrestlers over an hour in some time frame. There's going to be moments that aren't going to be as exciting as others, but I'd say all in all, my attention was held pretty well. I didn't dislike the booking decisions. You say about the star power, it's like, I can start naming off some other names there too, because I mean, you had Gunther in there who, was running the gauntlet again. I mean,
I like him.
He's fantastic, and they are pushing him to the moon. He's broken the record for the longest Intercontinental title reign in history, still holding that damn thing, still holding it strong. I mean, you got guys like him. Drew McIntyre's been put to the top of the mountain as well too, and you had him up there in the finals. I mean, maybe not as big. Braun Breaker, not a star yet, Bobby. Far from being a star, but awesome. He had an impressive debut.
That was awesome.
Sure. Now, if you heard the statistic, the Braun Breaker, it's something like 23 miles per hour is the speed clocked of him running the ropes within a 20-foot ring. That's insanity, man, that he can get up to that speed in that short amount of time for a big boy like that. Like, damn it. Like, don't get in his way.
Yeah, he's a Steiner. He's genetically, athletically gifted. Like, plus, you can see the work he's been doing on his body, on his ring work, and all that stuff. Scary, man, to think how insane that is. Imagine that something goes wrong and you're a little too close to him as he bounces off there, man. You're getting knocked right out of the ring.
You sure as hell are. So. We got a couple of topics we did mention we were going to talk about here tonight, so we'll get off of the WWE topic because we don't cover WWE a whole lot here. This is more WWE than we ever talked about here on Ring Respect Radio.
I finally watched a match recently, so we had to talk about that. That's the first one since the Funhouse Firefly or whatever that was.
You'll never let me live that down. I know you won't.
Never.
Well, let's turn it on to some stuff we do like here, Papa Smokes, that we can share share love for, and that is both MLW and PPW. Which should we talk about first, or should we go down the PPW train and then the MLW Superfight train?
Whatever you think, Bob.
All right, let's start with Prairie Pro Wrestling, because just announced, Papa Smokes, coming up on Saturday, February the 24th, 2024, live in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, from the Cosmo Senior Center, right beside the Hose and Hydrant on 11th Street at Broadway Avenue in Saskatoon. PPW presents Love is Dead. The second time around. Again, we didn't prove it last time around, apparently. So, Love is Dead one more time here in Saskatoon. Papa Smokes at 2. Two big matchups have been announced for this card. We have got the aptly named Brotherhood which is a whole lot better name than what they were originally going for when it came to the inflictors of re-education. Yes, the Dixie Dragon and the badass cowboy Jacob Creed are going to be in action against the Short Kings. And now, shout out to the Short Kings. Great podcast, great guys. I thought it was hilarious right around the holidays when they were going on about their time in Saskatoon and how they are technically 2-0 or whatever they are. They haven't lost a match officially as a tag team in Prairie Pro Wrestling, because both times this rivalry that's brewing between the Brotherhood, which is Bucky McGraw's faction, and the Clandestine Society has prevented a true clean finish in a tag match for the Short Kings yet.
Yeah, and we've talked about the Short Kings a couple of times before. These guys know each other. These guys came up together. They have a charisma and a chemistry also in this team. Not only do they have their stuff worked out very tight, all their tag team moves and stuff, but you can see that kind of mental bond that they have. One always knows where the other one's going to be, even when they're moving quickly, even when there's lots of spots and action going on at the same time. They have eyes on the back of their head, and I think this is a huge advantage in tag team wrestling, because you have to use time very carefully. You can't be slow about some of those tandem tag team moves. You only have so long before the referee gets you out of the ring. That's why that chemistry and that knowledge of where the other guy's positioning is going to be is so important. Short Kings have that down. It is an advantage for sure.
Oh, for sure. The interesting part, though, is going to be this whole tag team, turmoil that we've got going on at the moment, Pop Suppose, because while the Short Kings might have it together, the Brotherhood pose a credible threat on the other side of the fence, and we're still not sure. Are we going to see anything boil over? Will the Clandestine Society be in the house on Saturday, February the 24th? And we'll talk about that in a second here as we say hello to a really close friend of mine, one of my best buddies right there, Dole Treves up in the house. That's Matt with one T. Hello, how are you doing, buddy?
How's it going? Doing?
What's that?
I just said, how you doing?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes, how are you doing? But yeah, speaking about this tag team division, again, Papa Smokes, it's nothing currently listed in terms of the Clandestine Society being at this show on Saturday the 24th. But what we do know is it is very possible for them to be there. They have been there consistently for quite some time. And you know that they are right PO'd at the Brotherhood and want to seek some sort of vengeance for the interference that they've faced, the beatdowns that they have gotten at the hands of this newly formed faction. I could foresee this thing maybe not going to a clean finish again. The Short Kings might be onto something here with the whole fact that they can't get to a clean finish as a result of this bad blood between these two teams.
Well, it speaks to what all these tag teams are thinking about coming into PPW with brand new tag team titles debuting soon. Every team's kind of scrambling to get their spot. Every team's kicking and scratching at each other to get to that top spot. There might be a little tag team tournament or a little setup of matches to determine a winner. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but there will be tag team champions crowned in the foreseeable future. That's why you see these teams, they're drooling at the mouth. They're just slathering to get up to that top spot. This is why you see some of the interference on the part.
Uh-oh. I think we lost Big Papa there.
Well, that was a quick one.
Oh, yeah. Just like that, you're back. All right. Good thing, too.
But any advantage any of those teams can take on one another is extremely valuable at this time. So the Brotherhood jumping the Clandestine Society, who they see probably as the top runners or one of the top runners to get the tag team title, if they can jump one of them, if they can cause an injury, if they can cause some kind of fear or get a mental advantage through jumping them from the back, they're going to do it any advantage to get there to the new tag titles.
Oh, you bet. Again, that it's going to be something they're both going to be looking for. But again, at the same time, the Short Kings want to get that opportunity as well, too. They want to crack at those tag team titles. They want to be that team in that picture. So you've got these three teams that are vying for it. But then we have seen other formations within Prairie Pro Wrestling, some that might even work out. I mean, we saw the pairing of Jack Pride and Zoe Sager at the last PPW show. And again, both of them scheduled to make an appearance on February 24th. So again, are they going to be in tag team action? Are we going to see the rise of a new formation there within Jack Pride and Zoe Sager possibly in this division?
And kind of an odd looking team on paper when you first think of it, but when we watched that match last time, again, these two have worked together throughout Western Canada for some time as well, and they seem to have a pretty good chemistry together and a good sense of tag team instinct and all that kind of stuff. They looked pretty good, and obviously weren't caring too much what the fans thought of them or what the referee thought of them, but another strong showing. Man, this is getting exciting with a tag team division now. We never even had a tag team match until the last 6 months or something in PPW. And now it's just gaining momentum towards the crowning of new tag team champs.
Oh, it's been fantastic to see unfold, and I can't wait to see what goes down with our first show of the year in terms of that tag division. But when it comes to the championship, the current and only championship in all of PPW that's only been held by one competitor, the longest reigning champion in the history of Prairie Pro Wrestling, Sheik Akbar Shabazz. But man, he's in for the fight of his life, Papa Smokes, because again, the man who's been number one contender for quite some time, who has been held back through an injury that Sheik even admitted to putting onto Colton Kelly. He has held this guy back as much as possible from ever getting to this position, being able to go one-on-one, because last time these two fought one-on-one for the belt, if it wouldn't been for El Asesino, Colton Kelly had the Sheik's number that night, and a new champion would have been crowned. It has been that long, Papa Smokes. You know that Colton Kelly, he has got to be one of the nicest guys on the planet, but once he gets inside that ring, it's like a switch changes, and there's an aggression inside Colton Kelly that comes out when he fights a guy like the Sheik, and I guarantee you, Colton Kelly has been doing everything to mentally and physically prepare for this encounter, because this could be the one and last chance he gets to try to overthrow the Sheik and beat this unbelievable reign that the champion has held over Prairie Pro Wrestling for nearly 2 years now.
I'm glad you mentioned the switch when it comes to Colton Kelly too, because that's something I've noticed too. A nice guy. I like shooting the shit with him. I like chatting and stuff like that. He's very popular amongst the fans. Has a bit of a smile when he comes out. Good looking guy. Everybody likes him. But yes, once that bell rings, he's all business. And I know that the Sheik is used to being larger physically and heavier than his opponents, but Colton Kelly's a big guy, and he's very strong, and he's very agile too. So the physical matchup is there. I really strongly have the feeling that the Sheik worries about that physical matchup, so he knows if it's even that way, he's got to get the advantage in another way. But like you said, I think Kelly's going to be so well prepared for this match this next time that, like you said, it might be his last shot. So he's got to make the best of it. And I know that he's got to have personal feelings against the Sheik and El Asesino as well. He wants to get that win over the evil force and possibly raise that beautiful PPW championship high over his head in the middle of the ring in Saskatoon.
You know what, and I believe that it is very possible. But again, the reason that Ed would make a comment like Sheik is the forever PPW champion, and there are a lot of people that are on board with that very comment there, because by hook or by crook, the Sheik has found a way to conquer everything that's been put in his path, whether it's because he's had help from El Asesino, whether it's been because he gets himself disqualified or counted out or whatever it is. he has also picked up some credible clean wins as well, too. Let's not count the Sheik out entirely as just this dirty, conniving, cheating heel. He has gotten some clean wins. He has clearly used his championship a few times to, maybe knock an opponent or two out. But the Sheik will find a way, and he is tough as nails. Let's not take away from the credibility of the talk about physicality, agility, and ring awareness. The Sheik has got all of those things that make him such a credible champion. And again, that is why nobody has been able to overthrow him yet. And Colton Kelly is going to have, more so than the physical game, is going to have to be more mentally prepared for what the Sheik is going to bring to this main event here for us on the 24th, because that mental game is going to be 90% of what it's going to be in order to take the belt from the Sheik that night.
Yeah, well said, Munson. And Sheik Akbar Shabazz is kind of like the Nick Bockwinkel of PPW. He's not necessarily going to pin you, but you can't get that belt off him. You cannot pin his shoulders to the mat. Ultimate defense all the time. And you know that the Sheik, in every match, he's going to try and win that by pinning his opponent's shoulders to the mat. But I don't think he cares if he doesn't. He's just going to find a way out of that to keep the championship reign intact. It's beautiful. It's very smart. It's got the fans here in a huge state of frustration after it's got to be almost 2 years or even 2 years that he's been champion. And the fans are extremely frustrated because they have a lot of favorites, but you can't sell the Sheik short. He's champ for a reason. He's got the physical skills, the ring skills, and, as you said, the mental skills to keep that belt around his waist.
Yeah, he sure does, Papa Smokes. And I was just trying to have a look here to give you an exact time frame, and it would have been on May the 28th of 2022 when Sheik Akbar Shabazz won the Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship. So if Sheik does manage to get out of this one with the title intact, I guarantee you that he will be just shy of 2 years by the next Prairie Pro Wrestling scheduled event for this year. Just shy of that 2-year mark. And again, when it comes to independent wrestling, that is also unheard of because, again, independent wrestling, a lot of the times people are filtering titles pretty quickly because challengers coming frequently. There's a lot of travel involved, a lot of fatigue on certain wrestlers, and it's just the way it goes. Basser coming in saying Colton is taking the belt that night and the roof will blow off of that place. I absolutely agree. If Colton wins, not only are the fans going to blow the roof off that place like they always do, but they're also, it's just going to be pandemonium. Like the celebrations out in the parking lot with Colton Kelly, the belt, and the entire PPW nation is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. We've got a new chatter up in the house. It's been Barca Butcher asking, what about WWE? We covered a little WWE at the beginning of the show. We don't do a lot of WWE coverage here on Ring Respect Radio ourselves, but if you are watching on our local establishment, we do a lot of WWE coverage on many different shows here throughout the week, including talking about the post shows out after the premium live events. We got NXT coverage on Tuesday nights with Taking Over, so make sure you tune it in. We got a lot of great shows here on the product. Yes, get the Steve Austin references. Thank you for coming in. Really appreciate you being here. As Bobby's asking us, would we like to see Sheik Akbar Shabazz in TNA or MLW? I'll take this one first. Both. How about you, Papa Smokes?
Oh, same answer. That's a guy that could handle the job, I think, too. It would be a bit of a adjustment for him, but he'd make it no problem.
Oh, I agree 100%. I'd love to see him in either one of those companies. And again, I can't wait. Saturday, February the 24th. I'm looking forward to seeing the PPW Nation. I'm looking forward to seeing all the wrestlers. I'm looking forward to the roof being blown off that place if Colton Kelly does overcome the Sheik and win that belt. I can see it now. They're going to be picking him up like he's king of the world there, Papa Smokes. The fans will. They'll be parading him all around Saskatoon with that belt hung high in the air. It's going to be a beautiful sight. So make sure that you're getting your tickets because they are selling fast in terms of the VIP section, just about all sold out already. And again, as I believe the tickets can be found at any one of our sponsors for the $15 entry tickets. That place is going to sell out. It is Pop Smokes. We've had people away the last couple of times. So get your tickets because it is the hottest ticket in Saskatoon today. But Papa Smokes, it's not just about PPW tonight. It's about MLW because this Saturday, MLW is going to be bringing us Superfight. And again, if you're free, man, I will be here doing the live watch along. You're welcome to come join me. But if not, you, the fans, can come join me right here on the channel. I will be doing the MLW Superfight 2024 watch along party here on the channel. But we're going to talk about that card, Papa Smokes, and get some of your thoughts on what they got going on here. We'll go match by match with a good chance I'm going to skip over one of the matches pretty quickly. First matchup they got listed here is Mystico is going to be making his MLW debut against Everno, who's going to be accompanied by Selena De La Renta. I believe the story here is that once Selena learned that Mystico was coming, very visibly upset with this decision of MLW to bring Mystico in, and her counter to that is to bring in Everno, who she believes is going to destroy Mystico in this matchup. So a little story been built behind this matchup.
Sure. I'm glad there is, because I can't add too much to this. I know Mystico's name. I know he's been a prominent luchador in AAA and maybe a couple other companies south of the border in Mexico. But I don't know this other guy. I'm interested, though. Anybody that's going to be under the wing of Selena De La Renta has immediately got a little bit of stroke there, because she has such talent at being the leader of a faction. She's getting her faction going, and yeah, one of those stronger managers in pro wrestling today, I would say.
You bet. And Bobby's making his prediction early, saying Selena De La Renta's client will win this matchup. And Ed saying, isn't Mystico the original Sin Cara? I believe that is the case. I'm not mistaken. Okay. In fact, you know what? Let's just, I've got it open. Let's take a look. Here we go. This would have been, here we go, WWE feud with, so on February 24th, 2011, WWE, blah, 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 something or other. But yeah, he was Sin Cara at the time. That was the original Sin Cara, is Mystico. Going to be joining the MLW roster on that night for MLW Superfight. So again, that's interesting. I mean, I think they very well could be looking to push another name in terms of the luchadors in the company. But at the same time, they really have been building up Selena De La Renta's faction as almost damn near unstoppable at the moment.
Yeah, and rightly so, too. She's one of the talents that they should really try and keep around as long as they can. Whatever happened last time she left the company, she was away for a year or so. Now that she's back, they can really benefit from a strong wrestling mind like her. Not only a mind for wrestling, but a mind for television production, writing formats, directing, producing, all that kind of stuff. Very talented lady.
You bet. Bobby said Mystico wrestled at CMLL. So CMLL is where they're going to be coming over from. And Ed saying, I'd listen to Selena De La Renta started order. Ed, you bastard. Yeah, well, I mean, Selena definitely has been bossing around a lot of the talent over at MLW, and as a result, she's got a lot of gold over her way. But again, she's managing the middleweight champion in Rocky Romero. She's managing the featherweight champion with Janai Kai, and she's only building that faction stronger and stronger. When will the openweight championship maybe be something that could be talked about, Because again, the openweight championship, where is it? Is it to be found? No, it's being defended on a pre-tape show, so we'll get to see that on the YouTube show that comes out a little bit later, if I'm not mistaken. Just try to have a look here. Yeah, Ricky Shane Page is going to be defending against Jake Christ, and Jesus Christ, at this point in time, anybody but Ricky Shane Page, and Ricky Shane Page has not worked for me in that role. So I hope that they go a different direction with Jake Christ, or they make a decision soon about doing something better with that championship.
I agree with you 100% there. And I think, MLW needs a bit of an overhaul. Like, I think we need the calling thing needs to go away, including the guys in it. I have nothing against the talent. I thought Akira was pretty okay, but we need a new main heel faction. And of course, we had a little disturbance in the feed last time that looked like a hint about Contra Unit. Yes, this is what we need. That was the main heel faction that got you and I and a ton of other viewers interested in their product some years back.
Mm-hmm.
It was good, like it was quality. They kept that faction going without it becoming stale, without it becoming cheesy and redundant. They had such talent in it. Fatu, Samael, and the rest of them. Good stuff, man. And we need to. I'm not saying it necessarily has to be Contra Unit, but we need to get back some of that swag that MLW had and doesn't have right now.
You bet. As Bobby mentioning that he'd like one of Selena De La Renta's clients to go after the MLW Openweight Championship. And again, they're building, like, it seems like there's a lot of factions going on because, again, you've got the World Titan Federation, who seem to be the jobber faction at the moment. You've got you got Selena De La Renta's Promociones del Rado, I believe is the pronunciation of it. And
Rado, yeah.
Yeah, they're doing fantastic work. You got on the babyface side, you got Alex Kane of the Bomaye Fight Club kicking ass and taking names. But yeah, the leak of Contra, which causes a lot of question because, again, when it first arrived, it came up in the matchup with Jacob Fatu and Matt Riddle. So you wonder about, is Riddle a target or is Jacob Fatu a target? And it came up again during the Reload show as well too, a little blip of the Contra Unit logo coming in, and it makes you wonder, is Fatu going to be there a little bit longer? Is he a target or is he part of this kind of thing? Is this going to be a reuniting with Joseph Samael, who from our interview with him sounded like he was done when it came to MLW? So that would be a huge interesting thing. Are we seeing the return of Cruel, aka Mods Kruger, who was leading Contra at the end of it? Could our boy Akira Kwan be coming back to Contra Unit finally? I mean, so many questions, Papa's folks, and I like where it's going. But speaking of Fatu, let's talk about his match because it's next on the list. He's got Yuji Nagata is who he's going to be wrestling against, and they seem to be throwing him into these matchups here with a lot of different Japanese talents and stuff like that. Starts to make me wonder if they are preparing for his departure to go over to New Japan at this point in time, or seeing him more frequently on the New Japan side.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, and that'd be a fun thing, a fun and rewarding thing for Fatu to do also. I'm not sure if he's done any work over there, but it always seems like kind of a feather in a wrestler's cap to have a successful tour of Japan and get to work a different company with a different roster that sets their matches up differently, that does their TV a little bit differently. It's all good experience for any of these guys that want to become bigger stars on whatever level of television show it happens to be. This would just be good for Fatu. And imagine how New Japan would feel about that, getting the Samoan Beast over there for a tour. That'd be great.
Oh, it would be fantastic. Is that say Nagata? Yay, New Japan dad faction. Hey, Ed Fatu's fighting all the dads at the moment. He's taking them on one by one. It's the kids versus the dads at workday. Bobby said it's great to see Jacob Fatu wrestling against NJPW wrestlers. So yeah, I mean, we'll see where it goes. I think that this match is set up more for maybe unfolding more of the Contra stuff. Something with the Contra Unit thing, I think, is going to leak more into this matchup or somewhere within this card. And my best guess would be this. This next match, Davey Boy Smith Jr. is back, Papa's folks. And instead of going straight back into that title picture where he left off last time, he's going to have to go up against one called Manders because, you know, let's not have a tag team title match on this card or do that tag division. And, you know, as much as I want to not crap on the whole crew of whatever they are with the tag champs and Good Brother 3, Mance Warner, it's gotten to the point where this has become such a joke that the whole group's looking like a joke. And that's a problem. And I think at the heart of that is Mance Warner more than anything. I think that your tag team champions wouldn't be so bad, but they're lumped into this group with Warner, and he's got so much goofy comedy shit going over, so much this GCW level leaked over garbage into MLW side that it's kind of just degrading the tag division and the tag titles at the moment, in my opinion.
Yeah, and isn't that the same way that we watched Mance Warner his last run with MLW, which was several years ago, possibly even almost 4 or 5 years ago? He's good. He's funny. He works good in the ring. He does good promos. He's got a little bit of that humor, but also the psychosis kind of too. He's good, but then he likes to play around with dumb shit. I love the way you put it, GCW garbage leaking over. That's exactly what it is. He's hanging around with Matt Cardona and all these guys, and it's not good. I always think that for MLW, Mance Warner is probably most effectively brought in for a match or two, or a several match feud, and then cut him loose again. You know what I mean? Like, I think he overstays his welcome, and his stuff starts to get cheesy and campy, and he gets a bunch of ideas of funny stuff he wants to do, and it's not good. So I'm in agreement with you there. I'm not anxious to see this match or this encounter, anything like that. I think it's time for Mance to go on tour somewhere else again.
Yeah. It's time for a restructure, clearly. And as Ed's saying, I don't want to shit on it, but let me shit on it I know, Ed. I know. It's just, I don't want to crap on it. That's the problem. It's like, I don't want to bastardize MLW or anything like that, but there has been an awful lot of goofy, nonsensical stuff lately that just is not my cup of tea. And I want it to go away because they can do so much better than that. And they could do better by some of their championships. And some of the championships have completely gone wayward at this point in time. And, speaking of jokes that need to go away, we're not even going to talk about this match other than mentioning it. Death Machine Rules match, Sami Callihan versus Akira. I'm pretty sure I'm going to put on the Be Right Back thing when I'm live streaming that one, because F you, Sami Callihan, and F you, Akira, for playing along with this whole calling bullshit. It's time to call a day on all this nonsensical deathmatch garbage in MLW. Good evening, Brian Carter. How are you?
Yeah.
What a good time for you to join the show. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The clown show must go. Agreed. And, of course, the Sami Callihan super fan over here. I still don't understand it. I don't understand Sami Callihan at all. I don't get it. You know what, to be honest with you, I'd rather take Raven back in the calling at this point in time, because at least Raven used to have talent. Sami Callihan never had the talent to begin with. At least Raven, at one point in time, had a match I liked watching. Sami Callihan has never had a match that I liked watching. So, yeah. And yet I was still happy that Raven was gone. I thought the calling was dead. And then all of a sudden they bring this clown in, this NXT dropout that wanted to be a hacker over in the NXT bunkers once upon a time. This Sami Callihan clown that would rather do death matches and make himself look like he's got a spare tire around the waist than ever bother looking like a professional wrestler. But what do I know? Akira should win. Sure. I don't care. I really don't. I don't care. Akira should have won the championship from Ricky Shane Page in that stupid Taipei death match, and he didn't. And it's just become a joke that I just can't stand anymore. Ed says, hey, he loved death matches after his stop in TNA. I just don't get I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get the explanation. Like, somebody explain to me what's appealing about Sami Callihan in any way, shape, or form as a professional wrestler. I like to see a try.
Don't look at me, Munson.
I'm not looking at you. Anybody feel free, though. That's for sure. But you know what? We're not even screw Sami Callihan. We're not talking about him. Let's talk about real talent. Let's talk about real talent. Yes. 2 out of 3 falls matchup, one of the better matchups on this card. You got the MLW Middleweight Championship on the line. It's Rocky Romero defending against Ishiban, and of course, Selena De La Renta in the corner of Rocky Romero. Here's one they've built up. Here's one they've prepared. It's one-on-one for the middleweight championship. It's a wrestling matchup between middleweights. Holy shit, they did one right by the championship on this one.
For sure, and this might be one of the better matches on the card, or this match could conceivably steal the show. I would say we've seen a lot of promise from Ichiban. He's looking good, and then Rocky Romero. There's a guy that's been around the block a million times, done the whole Japan thing, the whole Mexico thing. This guy's a leader, and he can set up and call a good match in the ring. This will be good, and this is one of the ones I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Papa Smokes. I'm really excited about the middleweight championship match. We are going to try to get through this here quickly because I will say this before we talk about the last match on this card. As of next Thursday night, Papa Smokes, immediately following Ring Respect Radio at about what it would be. It would be about 10 after 10 or quarter after 10 Eastern time, Central time. That would be 9:10, 9:15. We're going to be having a couple of new faces here on our local establishment, talking all things Ring of Honor with the Honor Ramble. It's going to be following us here on Ring Respect Radio. So we're going to try to keep a tight show here, make sure that we wrap up just in time so that we can get everybody over to the Honor Ramble to talk all things Ring of Honor. I'm really happy to be sharing Thursday nights with some more wrestling conversation here, Pop Smokes.
Exciting. The more the better, and the more we can build up OLE with fun and competent podcasters making interesting shows, all the better, man. Let's keep the chat going.
You bet. Stay tuned for more announcements throughout the week so you can get to know your hosts of the Honor Ramble. They're going to be joining us here on our local establishment next Thursday night. So yes, as we get to the final match here on this MLW Superfight card, the other one that I'm quite intrigued with, and hopefully this isn't going to end in a bunch of shenanigans and we get another opportunity for the champ to look strong, because it's been one of the best parts about MLW. And we are going to be talking about Alex Kane with your close personal friend, Bob Smokes, Mr. Thomas in his corner, Bomaye. He's going to be taking on former MLW World Heavyweight Champion Satoshi Kojima, who's I'm sure going to be loaded up on all sorts of bread as he comes down for this matchup. Again, I hope no shenanigans. I hope this is just a solid matchup. Kojima might not be the young, go-getter that he was when he won that MLW title for, the first, I believe he was the first ever second champion or
20 years ago. Yeah,
it was a good 20 years ago. He might not be that same guy anymore, but I do believe that we will get a solid enough matchup between himself and Alex Kane in this main event.
Yeah, and I like the sound of this match for part of the reason is that Kane is newer to the business and Kojima is a veteran. And this always makes it interesting because you want to know who's gonna take the lead in this match and who's gonna follow, because Alex Kane has all kinds of momentum. He's so good on the mic, such a smart ass on the mic and a good talker, but then he can back it up in the ring too. Very strong. All those millions of different kinds of throws and suplexes and stuff. And then you've got somebody like Kojima that's worked with everybody before in his career, but probably not Alex Kane yet. So interesting the way it'll go. Not sure what to think of this. I can't see Kane losing the belts in this particular match, but I think it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to that one too.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. It's gonna be solid. We did have Brian saying he didn't know how to watch ROH, and Ed clearing that up for him. Honor Club is how you can watch ROH currently. So if you want to check that out, Brian, hey, you know what? If you just want to find out what's going on in the world of Ring of Honor, you can head on over here right after Ring Respect Radio on Thursday nights. Find all about it. We've had a couple of resident experts coming in that have a deep-seated knowledge of Ring of Honor from its origins right up to the modern-day incarnation of Ring of Honor as well, too. So we've got the best of the best joining us here on Thursday nights. to talk about Ring of Honor. Again, we're glad to have so much more coverage. We've got your MLW covered. We know Ed and Astrid have got NXT covered. We've got Ring of Honor now going to get covered. We've had some Impact coverage. We've got Japanese coverage. Again, we're trying to build that community of being able to give you guys a little bit of a whole bunch of different stuff so that you're getting the coverage all over the place. So no matter what your niche is, you've got yourself something that you could tune into here at our local establishment. And I believe Ed has sent me a name of who we should raid here, Papa Smokes. And Ed, I am going to do my best to find that out here for us so we can make that happen. I hope that they're on our list. If not, I will, I'll find them. I'll find them. If you can find me the actual name, or if you can take care of that for us, Ed, possibly. I'm pretty sure you got credentials. Let us know if you can take care of that raid there or not, or at least give me the full name of the person we are raiding. I'd be more than happy to do so. But in the meantime and in between time, the cost of the show just went up because it's Papa Smoke's ticker right there to let the people know where they can find them.
All right. Always exciting when the multi-billion-dollar ticker comes up. Okay. So speaking of multi-billions of dollars, I can be found on social media, on Elon Musk's free speech wonderland known as X. I am at smokes_Papa. And then on Twitch, you can find me at Papa_Smokes_.
For sure. And we're going to delay just long enough for Ed to be able to take care of that raid for us. He says, give me 2 seconds. And while I do that, I got to give a spin because our boy, the Bass Man, the big Bass Man, he gave us another subscribe. That's like 13 months in a row for the Bass Man here on Twitch. So thank you so much, Basser, for that big subscribe for our local establishment. I believe I'm losing my voice here, Papa Smokes. It's been one hell of a ride here tonight. But let me get the ticker up for myself. That is me. That's B-O-B-B-Y, Bobby Munson. I'm your boy, and that's where you can find me over on all the socials as well as Twitch at @VideoBro_Bobby Munson, where I have been doing a lot more gaming on there. So make sure to come by and say hello. I've been getting on there. I've got FC24. My brother and I have been hooking up, playing some online gaming there too. So might have a couple times where Brother Munson might be on vocally might be on stream here with me over on my own personal channel. So make sure you check it out. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe over on OLE, over on the Video Bros Network, and check both myself and Papa Smokes out at Prairie Pro Wrestling. Ed mentioning ready when you are, and watch Chaotic Wrestling tomorrow night after Japanese Wrestling Update. Fantastic to recommend. Ed, you can send that raid anytime, my friend. For those of you who are on the YouTube side, you will be with us just a little bit longer as Ed is preparing the raid for us. Send it over to the JT Dunn. Say hello from the Video Bros, from all of us over at our local establishment. Looking forward to watching an MLW watch along. Bobby, I'm looking forward to having you there, my friend. It's always a party with Bobby Stats is up in the house. So make sure you tune into that. That's coming up this Saturday. Make sure you're tuning into the live version of the Japanese Wrestling Update tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And make sure you tune in to see me at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Sunday for Point of View, the show where you can give me the topics of the world of pop culture, and I'll be doing some video gaming. That's going to be it for myself and from Papa Smokes. We respect you for coming out here again, and we'll see you next Thursday. Take care, everybody.